During your time in college, you'll have the opportunity to engage with different academic departments, join an array of extracurricular activities, and even start new student groups. With this right to freely associate with people of your choosing comes the right to invite and listen to speakers of your group's choosing. Like state and federal governments, your public university cannot discriminate on the basis of viewpoint or content, which means, for example, that your university cannot approve or deny speaker requests because some students disapprove of what they might say. Keep in mind that invited speakers do not represent your university's views. They represent themselves, and that as a student, you are free to invite speakers that you'd like to hear. In the following clip, you'll see students grappling with how to respond to a speaker invited to campus by a student group whose ideas they oppose. While watching this scene, think about the role of academia in testing ideas through logic, debate, and the scientific method. How can we respond to viewpoints we find upsetting in a way that benefits the community at large and furthers the pursuit of truth? How can we intelligently combat questionable ideas by hearing them and pointing to their logical shortfalls?
Did you hear who's speaking on campus next week?
No, who?
Some idiot who says vaccinations are dangerous. It's all anti-vax propaganda. It's irresponsible of the university to let them speak here. Encouraging people to go unvaccinated is exactly how diseases spread. We should go and rip the microphone out of their hands.
Well, I don't know. What would that accomplish? Do you think shutting them up will make their supporters change their minds?
Well, maybe not. Either way, they shouldn't be allowed to speak.
I also hate everything they stand for. But what happens if you disrupt the talk? Just gets them more attention and makes them into martyrs.
They're idiots.
Well, all the more reason to let them speak. It's the only way to actually confront their claims.
Fine, but everyone who attends that speech should be quarantined.
I don't think you can assume everyone in the audience agrees with them. I mean, it might actually be good to go so we can write an op-ed for the student newspaper about all the misleading arguments they make. Maybe we can even pass out some scientific literature outside the event or hold a counter-protest.
Maybe you're right. Let's bring these ideas to our next club meeting, and let's go talk with the folks over in the student activities office about the steps to secure space for a counter-protest.
The takeaway point is that the antidote to speech you disagree with is more speech. Dialogue and debate are how you change hearts and minds. During your time in college, you should pursue your passions, and when they run contrary to someone else's viewpoints, try to embrace the opportunity to hone your own arguments. Trying to prevent someone from speaking only gives more power to their words. When acts of censorship, such as shutting down a speech, occur, it often has the opposite of the desired effect. As many of your parents may have learned, telling inquisitive minds not to do something or not to listen to something only heightens their interest. Censorship not only raises the profile of the speaker and widens their audience, it also denies those critically listening to their speech a crucial opportunity to find holes in the speaker's arguments. Because your school is a public university and thus bound by the First Amendment, your administration has an obligation to allow room for a wide range of ideas and must apply policies in a viewpoint-neutral way. As adults, your university is not here to micromanage your education, to make value judgments for you, or to shield you from ideas. It's up to you to form your own opinions and challenge one another through civil discourse. Next, we'll watch President Obama talk about the value of an intellectually diverse community.
When I went to college, suddenly there were some folks who didn't think at all like me. And if I had an opinion about something, they'd look at me and say, well, that's stupid. And then they'd describe how they saw the world. And they might have had a different sense of politics, or they might have a different view about poverty, or they might have a different perspective on race. And sometimes their views would be infuriating to me. But it was because there was this space where you could interact with people who didn't agree with you and had different backgrounds than you, that I then started testing my own assumptions. And sometimes I changed my mind. Sometimes I realized, you know what, maybe I've been too narrow-minded. Maybe I didn't take this into account. Maybe I should see this person's perspective. So that's what college, in part, is all about. The idea that you'd have somebody in government making a decision about what you should think ahead of time or what you should be taught. And if it's not the right thought or idea or perspective or philosophy, that person would be, that they wouldn't get funding, runs contrary to everything we believe about education. And I don't agree that you, when you become students at colleges, have to be coddled and protected from different points of view. You know, I think that you should be able to, you know, you should invite anybody, anybody who comes to speak to you and you disagree with, you should have an argument with them. But you shouldn't silence them by saying you can't come because, you know, I'm too sensitive to hear what you have to say. That's not the way we learn either. So, what do you think, Arnie? Amen. He said amen. All right. Okay.
What President Obama is describing is the value found in a community that embraces, rather than shuts down, disagreement. College is intended to be a place for growth, where your ideas can be tested, your debate skills refined, and your critical thinking abilities challenged and sharpened. These skills are vital for learning how to separate truth from fiction for yourself. When facing speech you disagree with, try to find strength in your ability to respond, whether it be through peaceful protesting, engaging in debate, writing for your student newspaper, or any of the many other ways you can amplify your voice on campus.